course, it's raining outside, pouring like crazy. So I'm stuck in here for the day. What am I gonna do? Oh, I guess I'll just play some Wii U. What? You're saying it's outdated? I gotta get a Switch? Oh, and I put my Switch. You mean this thing? Well, I guess the time's come to compare them. Let's start with the Wii U. The year was 2011. Nintendo's highly successful Wii console was reaching the end of its lifespan. It was time to start making a replacement. E3 2011 came around, and the Wii U was unveiled. But enough about the backstory, let's take a look at the console itself now. There were two variations, an 8GB basic set and a 32GB deluxe set. Now, being the successor to the Wii, it borrowed a lot of the Wii's motion controls, including the Wii Remote. But the main gimmick, and the reason why the whole thing failed, was mainly this thing right here, the gamepad. It was meant to be used sort of as a portable, quote-unquote, version of the console, where you could play the Wii U games without having to have the system hooked up to a TV. Now, in theory, that sounded great, but it wasn't executed so well. Everyone thought that if someone else is watching the TV, you could just take the gamepad, go in another room, and play the game. Right? Unfortunately, that's not exactly what happened. As you can see, my connection is getting unstable. If I were to go much farther, I would lose connection, and then the game would not function at all. This hindered most of the portability of the Wii U gamepad. But enough about why it failed. Let's talk about the hardware and the games. Graphically speaking, it was nowhere near as powerful as the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. And the Switch isn't either, but I'll get to that later. As for the games, it had a bit of the shovelware that the Wii had, but nowhere near as much. However, it was also known for having a great library of games for a rather obscure console. Games such as Super Smash Bros., seen behind me right here, Super Mario Maker, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and all forms of other games were released on this console. Now, you might think that this would give it an advantage over the Switch since it's older and has more games. However, majority of these games are being ported to the Switch now. The only major one that I can think of that hasn't been ported yet is Mario Maker, and I have no idea why. I should also probably mention that the Wii U games, mainly Smash Bros., started the Amiibo craze. These are just a few of mine, but there's plenty out there. Now let's talk about the Wii U's successor, the Nintendo Switch. Now, as I said, graphically, there is barely any difference between the Switch and the Wii U. But the real major difference is that this thing right here, compared to this thing is fully portable. You can take it right out of the dock, as I'm sure you all probably know, and play full-blown console games in handheld mode. Never really been done before. I mainly use it in handheld mode, but I've used it in TV mode a few times and it still looks great. Now, it's also made a name for itself having two of not only Nintendo's biggest games, but two of 2017's biggest games, Super Mario Odyssey and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, both regarded as absolute masterpieces. And this year, the games, there's been some good ones, but nowhere near as much as Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. But the main thing is we have Smash Bros. Ultimate coming in December. And next year we have Animal Crossing, Metroid, and plenty others just jumping on board too. Now, another difference between the Switch and the Wii U is third-party support. This thing did not have much. It had Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, and Zombie U, and Call of Duty for a little bit, but that was about it. This thing right here has developers flocking onto it, realizing how successful it's been. Now, granted, their games won't look as good on this as they would on, say, a PS4 or an Xbox One, but you do get the advantage of being able to play them portably, which the other two will not grant you. Now the Switch, despite its success, is still missing some features that are basically included on every console nowadays. Things like media apps, YouTube, Netflix, etc., or even an internet browser like the Wii and Wii U both had. It's also missing Nintendo's Virtual Console, which was a smash hit on both the Wii and Wii U. Now yes, there isn't the Nintendo Switch Online with the NES games, but that's nowhere near to the extent. Speaking of Nintendo Switch Online, it's now very different than the other two. You don't really get full-blown voice chat, but you do get cloud saves and certain cosmetic features for a $20 subscription price. Now you might be saying, oh, well, no voice chat, why would I pay for that? Remember, for PlayStation Network or Xbox Live for a year, it's $60. But for Nintendo Switch Online for a year, it's only $20. So it's kind of a trade-off. But you can still do voice chat with the mobile app at least. Like the Wii U's online service, the Switch's online service is not the best, but it's still usable and it's still good enough for the price. Definitely a lot better than Nintendo WFC was. Whew, that was a mess. The Switch does have a nice lineup of online games, mainly Rocket League, Splatoon 2, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Overall, for $300, it's an investment that will vary in value from people to people. Some will love it for the portable mode, others will not like it for the lack of media features. It's really up to the consumer. In my opinion, it was 100% worth it for me. I love the thing to death. But let's not forget what the Wii U has done. Even Reggie Fils-Aimé himself has said, without the Wii U, the Switch would not be the way it is. The Wii U, as I'm sure many on the internet have said already, was a major stepping stone for the Switch. It paved the path from its errors. Overall, do I think you should buy a Wii U today? No. Unless you're really dedicated to Smash Brothers for Wii U, even when Ultimate is out, or you're wanting to play Mario Maker, those are the only two reasons to buy this thing, really. Some are saying that it might be collectible in the future because it's rarer. It only sold about 13 million units. But I say the Dreamcast only sold about, 11 to 12 million? And that is not... And is that stuff considered the most collectible? Not really. One of these things will run you typically about $130 to $150 loose. And the Switch is $300 brand new, or you can find it for about $250 or $260 used. Overall, I think they're both great consoles, but the Switch would have to be the way to go for me. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little video. I know I've been on a hiatus again. I've been busy. I haven't had much time to film stuff, but I'm going to try and get back on it the best I can, so I will see you all later.